Hi everyone, I hope you're all well. I hope you guys have been enjoying the weather and all that. But anyway, today's blog is going to be another autism blog and it's going to be on 10 positives of being autistic. Since I thought, because Disability Pride Month, I thought, why don't we do a video on the positives of being autistic rather than all the negatives? And there's so many negatives surrounding autism, and I want to show the positives because there's great things about us. We're amazing people, and I want to make us all feel inspired and happy and all that. So I really hope you guys enjoy this video, and yeah, make sure to give a big thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. So because of our difficulties and our challenges and the way like society and the government treat us, I find that autistic people are more likely to be accepting to other people than what neurotypicals will be. Obviously some neurotypicals will be really accepting to other people, of course, but I find in my experience a lot of autistic people are more likely to be accepting because we know how it feels to struggle and to be different and all that. So it'll be nice to anyone who's different or like feels left out from society, because we know how it feels to like be told that we're not normal, our behaviour is weird, no one will like us because of the way we act and all that. And I've had many things said to me. I've even been told I'm a failure at high school by another student, so that was kind of like difficult to take in, because it's hard because then you start, because when more and more people that say that to you start to think it, you start to think, oh my god, really am, and like you get said these kind of things, and it's horrible. And like a lot of our behaviours that we do, like being sensitive to loud noises or stimming or not understanding social conversations, a lot of people think, oh, they're not trying, they're being lazy, their behaviour is weird, I don't like them. And like we've gotten so used to being treated this way, and we shouldn't be treated this way because we're amazing the way we are. There's nothing wrong being different. What's wrong being different? Different's a good thing. If we're all the same, it'd be boring. So I think that's why we're so accepting of others, because we have been beaten up so much during our lives and we've struggled a lot. So we know how it feels to like feel like you're the odd one out, and like we don't want you to feel that way. So we'll treat you well, we'll include you, we'll be as nice as we can because we know the feeling. So we're very honest and loyal. Like we'll always treat you nicely, like I just said before. We'll always like be honest to you. We'll always like say what we mean. Like for example, if we're feeling a certain way, we'll tell you it. If like if there's something that's bothering us, we'll tell you. You know what I mean? We'll just be honest to you because we won't want to hurt your feelings. And even though honesty can be a bad thing sometimes, because sometimes we can be so honest to the point that we're the comment that comes out offended. Like for example, if we think someone's hair didn't look nice, for example, if we came out saying, oh, your hair doesn't look nice, that would come across offensive because they'd be like, oh, I don't look nice. That's not a very good compliment. So some of the things, so sometimes our honesty can go against us, but then sometimes it can be a good thing. So we get into a bad situation, we have to be honest about what happened. We will be totally honest about what happened, and it will make the situation better because we're being honest, not lying and hiding it behind their backs. So it can be good, but it can also be bad. But our loyalty and honesty can be a very good thing and is definitely a positive in many cases. So as you know, a lot of us on the autism spectrum have special interests, and this can be a very, very good thing because we get so absorbed in these interests, and even though it can take over our lives sometimes it can be a good thing because we get so absorbed in these interests, we know all the facts to the point that we can do this in many other aspects in life. We can do it at college, uni, and a job, and this could really help us because because we're focusing so much on that task, we'll actually get the job done. So we're very focused, very engaged, and this could be a really good thing because then we can pass on knowledge to our people who may not know much about the subject, which then they're learning as well. So it can be a really good thing, like being so into our special interests. I think as long as the special interest isn't taking over your life and you're not talking about like 24/7 all the time, then it's a good thing because yeah, it can help you with like finding jobs and finding ways to go about life. So us autistics obviously see the world in a different way to what neurotypicals do, but this is a really, really good thing because, for example, we pay attention to tiny little details. So there's details we may notice that neurotypicals don't notice, and we can point them out. Like, for example, we may be like looking at a train. This is just an example. I don't really look at trains, but this is just an example. But we may see a wee detail in the train, like, oh, look at that sign there, it says that. And the neurotypical may have not noticed that sign, and that's like showing them something, and they may have missed that sign of where to get off or whatever, you know what I mean? So yeah, some of the things that we like pay attention to and do can show difference, can bring different views to the world. Like, for example, our special interests, we can show more knowledge to the world and come up with our facts and tell people about what we know and all that. And just some of the things we do, like we bring it down different points of views, and we can teach people about being autistic and the things that we do and the way our brains work and the way we process things. So yeah, it can be really interesting being able to show different points of view to the world, because like it's really interesting having like people come up with different things, because if we all did the same things, the world would be a very boring place. So I think that's a really good positive thing about being autistic. We've got very good long-term memories for the most part. Well, not all of us, but the majority of us do. So like, for example, we may remember a really, really good event from a long time ago and remember all the details from it that neurotypical may not remember. And some of these details may be a big positive, so it's good for us to remember this. And for example, if we learn information from like an exam or a knowledge quiz or whatever, we'll remember that information, so we'll retain it in from that long period ago. Like, for example, I still remember Just a Haggis by Robert Burns, the primary 7 poem I did for Burns Day, and I remember also, like, so from like having a good long-term memory, I learn things, like I remember information, and that information stays in me. So I learned so much in that time period and I don't forget, which is a good thing, because it's good to remember like useful information. Of course, even though you're remembering good times, remembering good information, this can go against autistics as well, though, because, for example, a bad memory, like a really bad traumatizing memory, may go from a neurotypical's brain, while a bad memory won't go away from our brain. It will stay with us forever. We'll always remember the details and everything. And some ways that can be a bad thing. But for the most part, having a long-term memory is a positive thing, as we remember information and good memories that neurotypicals won't remember. Following rules can come as a benefit. Like, for example, when you're driving, you have to follow the rules, or else you can get into a car crash or something bad can happen, you know. Or, for example, in the classroom, sometimes you have to follow the rules. Like, for example, in an exam, you've got to follow the rules or you'll be disqualified. So knowing how to like follow the rules and being sensible can be a really good thing sometimes, because it lands us in less trouble and we do things properly, you know. So it can be a benefit. But obviously it can come to a disadvantage too. Like, for example, you follow rules so much to the point that you start telling other kids. Like, for example, when I was in first year, a boy was on his phone in my English class, and I turned to him and was like, "You shouldn't be on your phone. I'm going to tell the teacher on you." And I told the teacher on him. And obviously it was very uncool, especially when you're in high school. So I never did that again, because I realised that it was a bit off telling other students for little things like that. But that's what can happen when you're like following the rules too much. But following the rules can sometimes be good, because you can like set a good example to our kids to be able to behave in a certain way as well. Like, for example, if you're meant to be doing a task quietly and all the students are like making a racket and everything, if you tell them to calm down, focus on your work, and you can just have fun later, then you're setting a good example. So being able to follow rules in life can be a good thing, but it can be a negative as well in a way. But for the most part, I think it's a positive, being able to like go by the rules. And yeah, I find a lot of autistic people actually have really good imaginations. I know a lot of people say things like, "Oh, they're black and white thinkers; they can't have imagination." But I think that's a myth, because like a lot of autistic people seem to create a lot of good scenarios. Like, for example, I'm good at creative writing. I like to use my imagination, enjoy it. Like, for example, I'm across land, I'm using my imagination of things I can do. At the moment, I'm making a swimming pool area. I thought that looks really cool, so I'm trying to use my imagination as I go along and try and think of scenarios of where things go in my head. So it can come as a benefit, like having a good imagination. And I remember as a child, when I didn't have many friends, I would create imaginary friends in my head on how I want them to be like, and I'd create imaginary games, and like I'd use my imagination and make up my own kind of role play. And like, role play is where you use your imagination and all that. And I found whenever we did role play and drama, I was really good at that, because I was so good at using my imagination anyway, because I always did that as a kid. So I have a very good imagination. I know other autistic people who are the exact same, and this can obviously come as a really good thing, because it means that we can come up with new ideas and new ways of living. That's a good thing. Like, you may come up with a brand new game that's never been invented before and everyone loves it, for example. So yeah, it's a good thing having a good imagination. I feel a lot of autistic people like stand out to the crowd. What I mean by that is that I feel like a lot of autistic people don't go by the social norms. So what I mean is that, for example, a lot of autistic people won't dress the same way as neurotypicals, But this is a really good thing, so it means we have our own fashion sense. We're not copying our peers, we're being who we want to be. Because I find a lot of autistic people don't copy their peers unless they're like masking, which obviously masking is not a very good thing. You should be yourself. But I feel like we have different, because our interests are usually different and the way we do things is different. Like for example, when I was on about dressing, I used to always dress quite innocent for my age, and I dressed differently to other people. Like I'd always want to dress really colourful and really out there, you know. Well, a lot of teenagers would just try and dress up with revealing clothes or just clothes that all look the same. But I want to look different from the other girls, which was obviously a really good thing. So I feel like we do stand out to the crowd, but in like a really good way. I mean, I don't know if all autistic people do this, but in my experience, some autistic people are like this. Like we seem to have our own identity. Like we're very good with that. I find like a lot of autistic people are perfectionists, and obviously, even though this can be a bad thing, because obviously it means that we may work at our interests for too long to the point that we're on it for hours and hours, not eating and not getting enough rest and all that, and the fact that we can get a bit too obsessed with what we're doing and it can like take over our mind. But it can also be a really good thing, because it means we're always trying our best, we're very committed to what we want to do, we won't give up till we reach that goal. So we have a goal in mind, and if we don't reach that goal, we'll just keep on going, which I think is a really good thing about autistic people. I just love their enthusiasm and energy for what they do. Like whenever an autistic person's really into their special interests, they'll just go for it. They'll just put their all into it, which I think is a really good thing. Like for example, at the moment, I put my all into my Animal Crossing island. I'm working really, really hard to get to that 4-star rating. Like I'm like doing everything. Isabella's now telling me plant the trees with fruits. So I'm doing it. I'm making sure it all gets done, and I'm right on it. And every day I'm like on my cycle bike thing as well, which my dad's got recently. I've been doing it for like 10 minutes, like so to get my daily exercise, and then do that, and then filming my blogs or doing autism posts. I always have my goals that I would want to do, and like it's usually either an autism post or like a YouTube video. Today it's a YouTube video, but I always have something in mind that I want to get done, and I'll make sure I get done that day, which is what I'm doing now. So yeah, I really like the passion autistic people have for like getting things done. Obviously, this can be a disadvantage sometimes, but it can be a big positive as well. And last but not least, there's nothing wrong with being autistic. It's a part of who you are. Without it, you wouldn't be the same person. You'd be a totally different person, and you just wouldn't be the same. You wouldn't have all the cool interests you have. You wouldn't have the brain. Like for example, you wouldn't think in a different way because you think in different ways than neurotypical. Your brain thinks differently, which is a good thing because you you bring different views to the world. And overall it's not a bad thing being autistic. Like the world makes it all negative and stereotypes it to be negative, but it's a good thing. You should be proud of being autistic because it's a part of you, and you should you should be happy with who you are because you're amazing the way you are, and you shouldn't let anyone stop you from doing what you want to do in life, because like you deserve to live a normal life. You deserve to live the life you want to live. And yeah, thank you everyone for watching my blog. I really hope you guys enjoyed this blog on 10 positives being autistic. I thought we needed a blog like this because there's so much negativity going in the world about autistic people, especially with the electric shock being legal in America, which is absolutely shocking. It shouldn't be legal. It should be totally illegal. Like nothing like that should be happening. Like it's terrible, really. But I really hope this will cheer you guys up, and I hope they'll make you realise that you are amazing and you do deserve to live. You deserve to live an amazing life and everything. But anyway, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and yeah, bye for now.